Hell 4 and Paragon 150 are rapidly approaching. We are at 126 server Paragon level, and so that means in a matter of 12 days, we will be reaching the Paragon server 150. Now, this is going to be massive for two reasons. We have massive Paragon trees coming into the game at Paragon 150, and also new set items, which will change Diablo Immortal forever. Let's get into it. So since the launch of this game, we've been permanently locked from certain parts of our gear setup, whether that was 2-piece set items, 4-piece set items, 6-piece set items, or whether it was legendary drops, something like that. There was always something preventing us from getting full sets of gear. Now, mainly that had to do with Paragon level locks and also not having access to also the trees that we have access to coming up soon. We will now have options to choose from all of 6 Paragon trees, as well as every single set item in the entire game, which means we can mix and match 2 triple 2-piece set items, 2 and 4-piece set items, or just go full 6-piece set items. And this will change everything for a very long time. Now, if you've not seen my video on the Paragon trees, basically what we're getting for Soldier is sort of, well, both of these are party-based mechanics. Mastermind requires you to have 4 different classes in your party, and Soldier is a more of a, you could say, PvP type tree where you're going to be boosting up your party members as well. Now, both these trees are interesting and can definitely change the landscape, although I don't think they're going to change it too much, because I don't think a lot of people are going to be running the actual trees themselves. However, we will get access to more damage. Now, for those of you that don't know, all the attributes in this game are transferable even if you do not have the tree active. So I have Treasure Hunter and Gladiator here, and then I'm speccing into full damage. However, I plan on trying out a full damage spec once I get a few more points, and Soldier and Mastermind are going to unlock more potential damage for your character, which is going to be a big deal. Now, on top of that, we're also going to get access to those set items, like I said, which will unlock huge build potential and massive power spikes. If we jump over to Deadwood here, this guy's running Mountebank's Flourish and the Untouchable Mountebank set here. And for those of you that don't know, the 2-piece and the 4-piece basically just give you a big shield that does a lot to keep you alive. But the 6-piece set basically turns this set item into a turbocharged Blessing of the Worthy that's going to potentially, if you are a whale, one-shot enemy people, which is going to be absolutely massive. And each set item really does something quite interesting. Vithu's set goes and gives you a massive life drain potential to your entire party, and so on and so forth for each potential set. And so what is going to happen? What's going to happen over the next couple of weeks here is we are all going to be farming for these set items. Dungeons are going to be becoming the #1 priority for a little while in order for us to get these set items unlocked. Now, most people will say, okay, but why don't we focus on combat rating in order to unlock potentially Hell 5 soon, which will literally be the essential end game of this game currently, because we're going to be sitting in Hell 5 from 240 to 600, and there will never be another type of power spike like we will have from Hell 1 to Hell 2, Hell 3 to Hell 4, or Hell 4 to Hell 5, which we will all be getting soon with access to pre-farming Hell 4 gear in this case. But next up is Hell 5, pre-farming that. We won't ever be able to do that again. We will just have to consistently grind to get better items. And what that means is that as soon as we grind our 6-piece set items in Hell 4, they will actually be relevant for quite a while. And then we will end up being grinding dungeons here and there in Hell 5 at certain points when our gear gets outclassed. But the most important thing is to make sure we get these set items. Now, this is going to be the highest potential value. As you can see here, I have 0 on me because I've been farming Hell 4. But once we get these on ourselves, these are not reduced in PvP. And so if you're curious about what the end game of this game looks like, well, for your PvE content goers, you're going to be just farming in Hell 5 for a very long time. Hell 4 here, this is 3250 combat rating. From Hell 3, you can see it's about 1,000 combat rating jump. This is about a 900 combat rating jump from Hell 2, and then from Hell 1 to Hell 2 was about a 700 combat rating jump. Now for Hell 4 to 5 is actually 1,800 combat rating jump. So we're actually going to be in Hell 4 for a decent while. You can see the Paragon difference is about 90 levels between the two, and compare that to 70 levels here, 50 levels here, or 29 levels here, is going to be a massive, massive deal. Now, once we do unlock Hell 5, as I mentioned, we're going to be farming this area for a very, very long time, and we're not going to have any huge jumps. And so we're just going to be focusing on set items because we no longer care about combat rating. Why? Well, because we don't have any additional Hell mode to gain. So all we're going to be doing is, since we're stuck in Hell 5, combat rating is basically a moot point. The only exception for this is pushing higher challenge rifts and pushing Helliquary if you choose to do so, or when they go ahead and increase the boss rates or the monthly boss spawns. If we're going to be pushing in challenge rifts, there's going to be minute value, except for potentially every week or two, when we get massive boosts in server Paragon level, perhaps 20 to 30 levels, so that we can go back, farm for additional stats, rather attributes on our gear, because for those of you that don't know, you get extra stats on your gear based on the Paragon level that the item actually is. And so it really won't be worth grinding out combat rating. What the idea here should be is that we should be grinding out Hell 5 at the very beginning. After that, farming for set items for the majority of the time, waiting for the server Paragon to kind of increase past you, or just let the server Paragon and keep up with it for the remainder of a couple of weeks, and then go back to open world farming to grind out your legendaries once again. This is a very different strategy from previous, because before, since we were going from difficulty to difficulty, well, we didn't necessarily care about our set items or anything like that, because it's going to get replaced relatively soon. Between these two, it's about a month. Between these two is about a month and a half. Well, a little bit less than that, to be honest, for most players, but for the average player, or for the average server level, will be about a month and a half. So this is definitely an interesting change. Now, is this going to be the same thing forever? Well, we don't know yet. We need to wait for our major content updates or minor content updates, because without the addition of new Hell modes, I'm not quite sure what there is to grind for. Now, for myself, a lot of the progression in the game is getting to this new Hell mode and being able to pre-farm it for additional gear. And if I'm stuck on just farming the same Hell difficulty for the remainder of, this potential next half year, we could see potentially nothing different in our regular gameplay loop, and there isn't really anything else to earn, because PvP is not necessarily a huge game mode offering a ton of rewards, or even that you could kind of win battlegrounds or do really, really well compared to those whales out there with grinding out these Paragon levels. So without any PvE content to go ahead and grind for, I'm interested to see what these new major content updates are going to be, because I feel like we are going to need a few of them, as I mentioned, due to the Hell difficulty being capped now. Now, we'll have to see what happens. I would like to see potentially some sort of other progression system where combat rating actually matters. A lot of people dislike combat rating, myself included, but the fact remains is that combat rating does feel like a really, really fun progression mechanic, because you can always see your combat rating increasing day in and day out, pretty much. So this is a very, very fun mechanic, but it's soon going to be a nonsense mechanic, except for challenge rifts. And once again, you'll never be able to care about challenge rifts unless you're a massive whale, because you'll be at the top of the leaderboards anyways. And so really it only matters to push it every week. You can see here, I literally haven't even done one this week. And I only did, I think, challenge rift 1 last week, and I was in top 50. So you can see just how many people are not doing challenge rifts currently, simply for the fact that they're not super valuable. So we'll be interesting to see. Let me know what your thoughts are down below about the current landscape of the game as soon as we reach Hell 4 and Hell 5, because with Hell 4 we will access all the gear remaining slots on our left hand side, the new Paragon trees, and then with Hell 5 we will access the last remainder of potential upgrades, and then get a slow slow grind of upgrades over the next following couple of weeks, or a couple of months rather, until we max out our Paragon. And at that point, what is there to grind for? I'm sure there'll be updates in the meantime, but I'm curious to know what you would all like in the comments down below, or what you think would be a good way to handle this. And I'll see you in the next video.